rounds in the UFC's salesperson division. This is for the RPAG Limitless Sales Champion of the World. Introducing first, out of the blue corner. This is a 403B specialist from Virginia Beach. He's by way of Boardman, Ohio. He has 4 kids, most of whom older than most of the panelists you will see today. He enjoys pickleball and pizza. Brian Braveheart Roberts. In the blue corner, he is a flex path fighter. He's a new dad to baby Kennedy, and he loves watching the Eagles and drinking skinny margaritas. From Newport Beach by way of San Clemente, California, Alex Genghis Khan. In the blue corner, she's a cold calling black belt, cool as ice. She enjoys skiing and painting at the same time. Selling out of Manhattan Beach, California by way of San Francisco, Ellie, the sharpshooter, Armstrong. In the red corner, he's a master of client relationships. He enjoys composting with his 3 kids and eating Tex-Mex burritos from Austin, Texas by way of Nowheresville, West Texas, Jefferson, Elgato Grande, Cheshier. In the red corner, he's a classically trained pianist from the Juilliard School. When he's not mixing tunes on the 1s and 2s, he's traveling the Mediterranean coast. From Tustin, California by way of Denver, Colorado, Jonathan, the Conductor, Coombs. This next fighter is a freestyle salesman. He's ranked number 2 by height of people from Iowa who works for RPAG. He enjoys playing golf and eating wings when he's not selling RPAG. From Laguna Beach by way of Des Moines, Iowa, LVJ Luke Vandermillen Jr. Now for the rules of the game. Let's see those rules. I know what they are. No personal attacks. No making fun of Brian or Jeff for their advanced wisdom. No eye gouging, fish hooking, or strikes to a grounded opponent. And no using ChatGPT, Luke. Winning isn't everything, it's the only thing. 4 minutes per contestant. Order selected at random and by how much money they gave me yesterday. You vote in the audience for who gave the most convincing pitch or who's the best looking. You have to open the app, hit the schedule, go to lightning round, and click polls. And starting off first, Brian!
Woo-hoo! All righty. So, any Braveheart fans in the room? I said, are there any Braveheart fans in the room? For me, Braveheart is all about standing up for what's right. It's also about overcoming insurmountable odds. And it's about winning what is rightfully yours. I'm Brian Roberts. I'm here today to guide you towards what's rightfully yours in the 403B marketplace. And the tool and the weapon that you will use are our custom target date portfolios. I don't have the clicker.
Loss of points.
Loss of points. Now, the custom target date portfolio offers several tactical advantages. The first are better outcomes. The second is reduced risks. And the third are lower fees. The battleground is plans that are with TIAA. And let me tell you, this is a target-rich environment. We've got over 3,500 small to mid-sized plans to go after across the country. And yes, only 244 of them, or 7%, have instituted the custom target date solution. It's also easy to scout out your plan. All you have to do is go to tiaa.org/public/enroll.search and enter in the name of the nonprofit that you want to see whether or not they're a current client of TIAA. If their name pops up, guess what? It's a target-rich opportunity. Now, we're also in the ammunition business, and we're going to supply you with some fantastic ammo for you to go after this opportunity. The first is a white paper that you can use to start the conversation on why custom target dates might make sense for your prospect. The second is meeting slides with pre-prepared speaker notes that have been distilled over the last 3 years of conversations that we've been having on this topic. And then finally, results. We will have completed our 4th year of results the end of this month, and they have been spectacular. I'm just saying spectacular to be on the low side of emotion and enthusiasm. Now, what I'm asking you in the audience today is to remember the immortal words of William Wallace. Every man dies, but not every man truly lives. Let those words echo in your hearts as you go after the opportunities in the 403B market that are rightfully yours.
Let's hear it for Braveheart, Brian Roberts. With time to spare. Next up, Jefferson, Elgato Grande. Woo. The big cat.
I'm going to need my chair if that's all right.
You take it.
The laggards are coming. The laggards are coming. In April of 1775, Paul Revere made his famous run, warning the colonists that the British were coming. Okay, now history people, don't at me. I know that that's based on a poem that was written 100 years later. There's a lot of factual inaccuracies. Go with me, okay? The importance of Paul Revere's run was that he was providing important information to people who still had time to act upon it. But the time was important, because if he had made that run 8 hours later, 12 hours later, 24 hours later, they couldn't have done anything effectively with that information. They would have been swamped by the British. So I'm here to tell you that the laggards are coming. Why laggards, you may ask? Well, I'm glad you did ask. The adoption of new technology, best practices, innovation comes in 5 groups. Your first are the innovators. The next are your early adopters. The second are your early majority, then your late majority, and then finally, here comes that train full of laggards. And once the laggards show up, whatever the new technology, innovation, or best practice is, it's no longer a benefit, it's table stakes. And I'm here to tell you that when it comes to using non-qualified as a tool to solve employer problems, the laggards are coming. Oh, Jeff, you're full of beans, you might say. Am I? We had an innovation session yesterday where one of the speakers, the audience, did not show up to learn about executive benefits. No. The speaker asked, who in the audience is currently using non-qualified as a tool to meet client needs? Typically, we see not very many hands. 90% of the hands in the room went up. I guess really it's 45 because both hands didn't go. We're about to have the 5th NAPA Non-Qualified Plan Advisor Conference. They're coming. If you're resisting it, You're getting ready to get a seat on the laggard train. Now, this is a sheet of uncut $100 bills representing future potential earnings. Okay, if you're in the Secret Service, it's not really a sheet of $100 bills, and this is not counterfeit. This is just play money. Okay, you have an existing qualified plan client. You could talk to them about whether they have any needs that a non-qualified plan can meet those needs, but no, you're a qualified plan advisor. You don't do that. Potential client you've gone in to talk about a 401k with. For political reasons, 401k is off the table. Not going to move, even if you're way better than they are. Do you pivot and start asking about employee retention? Key employees not being able to adequately prepare for their own retirement because of the low relative limits? No. You're a qualified advisor. You don't mess with this. Get ready, this one's going to hurt. Future earnings of your existing qualified plan clients. You do awesome. They love you. They would never displace you. One of your competitors calls and tries to talk. They're like, no, man, our qualified plan person is awesome. They do pivot. They say, okay, do you have any employee retention issues? Key employees not able to save? No. You're a qualified plan advisor, but what happens is your client talks to them about non-qualified, and then they start playing business Jenga, and they're just poking on your tower, looking for a little piece to move, and once they get in on that, your existing business. My clients are all pass-through entities. They won't get a tax benefit from non-qualified plans. Newsflash, you're not solving tax problems for these clients. You're solving retention and the ability for their key employees to prepare for retirement. You don't do that. My favorite one. I only do qual. I don't know enough about non-qual. I've got to learn more. Okay, when are you going to learn more and start doing it? Well, a little later. You know, Jonathan Young, American Funds. Where's Jonathan? You've taught me so much about Latin in the last few years. I love you for that, man, but I'm having a blank here on stage. What is later Latin for? Never. Never. That's when it never happens. Are you going to trust the financial future of your practice till later? The laggards are coming. Get on the train.
Elgato Grande, everyone. Jeff Cheshier, the man with the best beard in the industry. Woo. Next up. Thanks, man. Alex, Genghis Khan.
Go, Alex.
All right, I want to start off with exercise, and I hope you guys will indulge me in this. So if everyone could please raise their right hands. Let's go, right hands up. Thank you. Now keep that hand raised if you have cable or satellite TV at home. All right, you 80% are the ones I'm going to talk to over the next 4 minutes. So there's a lot of talk about people cutting the cord, right? Replacing cable, satellite with streaming services, Netflix, Hulu, Amazon. And in fact, since 2010, the penetration rate of cable in the US has dropped from 88% to 66%. And there's another 29% saying that they're going to cut the cord within the coming months. But as it stands today, cable's still by far and away the most popular type of paid TV service in the country. Take a second and think about why that is, right? To me, it has to do with the fact that cable's been around for a long time, right? Historically, there were limited alternatives, which allowed for you to get introduced into the type of solution. And despite the fact that there's not really that many redeeming qualities about it, you became familiar with it, right? But obviously, people are replacing with streaming types of services, right? They offer personalization. They're going to recommend shows to you based on what you've watched. That's going to increase your engagement. They have their own original content, some of which is really good, and I will give some recommendations later. And there's cost savings behind that, right? So if someone were to give me the opportunity to recommend streaming or cable to someone, I would recommend streaming to them every single time. Now, I want to revisit the same exercise we started with, but I want you to raise your hand if you have at least one retirement plan client who has Vanguard target date funds within their lineup. Maybe all of you, right? And you're not alone, right? Obviously, that's $1 trillion market space. But when I think about why there's $1 trillion existing within Vanguard target date funds, to me, it looks pretty similar to what it does with cable, right? It has to do with the fact that there's longevity and familiarity. Historically, there had been limited alternatives. Now there's more than 110 unique target date fund series out there, and it's somewhat of a social norm. right? How many times has a plan sponsor said, I had Vanguard at a past employer, why don't we include them within our study? Despite the fact that they may not be an appropriate fit, despite the fact that they may not be the lowest cost option, it's just become synonymous with that, right? So I'm here to tell you today that the most common conversation that I'm having with you all, with advisors over the past 12 to 24 months, is how to improve upon that solution using a FlexPath co-manufactured option, right? I'm here to tell you that there is a trend called Vanguard cutting, people replacing Vanguard target date funds with FlexPath target dates. And among record keepers where we have a co-manufactured option, 60% of plans sold this year have gone into those options, right? Continuing FlexPath's trend as the fastest growing target date fund provider. Why is that? Well, target dates are great in that they're simple, but age should not be the only determining factor to someone's asset allocation. Similar to how streaming services provide you with personalization and recommendations, right? FlexPath multiple glide paths allow for personalization. That enhances user engagement and enhances the way that you all can work with participants. Better ingredients, just like streaming has better original content, right? Better underlying building blocks, components within the target date funds, which translates into performance, right? Index, select, moderate, and aggressive have outperformed the peer group average 100% of the time over rolling 5-year windows. The conservative glide path's taken on less risk in the form of standard deviation 100% of the time over rolling 5-year windows. So the last piece with that would be cost savings. Everyone loves a great bundle, right? How about an opportunity to bundle the record keeping and investment expense together? And I want to be clear on this. We're not just picking based on cost, but from your perspective, right, you want to make sure that your plan sponsors are aware of the savings that exist. So I want to leave you with this. Vanguard in the dictionary, it means a group that's creating new ideas, new developments. And while that had been true for cable and the firm, right, think about some of the new opportunities that exist out there. We're going to hear all good ideas from these panelists. No opportunity set is larger than the $1 trillion that exists in Vanguard target date funds today. So your takeaway is to talk to your prospects about changing preferences, new technologies, right? Show them ways to save money and increase personalization and win business as a result of that. Thank you.
Thank you, Alex. Next up from the red corner, his compadre, Jonathan, the Conductor Coombs.
Thank you, Jesse. It is so good to be back here with all of you today. I think I may have lucked out when it came to the topic assignment because what I'm here to cover might just be the easiest, most obvious, and quickest ways to articulate value to a current or prospective client. We're not talking any nuanced description of services here. In fact, your audience might not even need much of an attention span because this is something just so clearly of value, it would be very difficult for any audience to ignore what you have to say. And what I'm talking about is trillion-dollar economies of scale, billion-dollar buying power. Something most retirement plans won't ever have access to on their own, and that most advisors, at least the ones not in the room here today, can't help solve. I think we would all likely agree when it comes to goods and services that are typically associated as best in class, there's always at least two attributes common, those being quality and consistency. That is how you ingratiate yourself with a potential buyer to the extent they will seek you out on an ongoing basis. Take apples, for example. If apples were an asset class, sounds weird saying that out loud, one of the managers near the top of that peer group would unequivocally be the Honeycrisp apple. You want to talk about quality and consistency? You can fact check me on this. Literally every bite of every apple, every time, you can expect a perfectly crisp texture with just the right balance of tangy and sweet. In fact, the only variable when it comes to the Honeycrisp experience is the packaging and the cost, right? If you go to your local neighborhood grocer with their lack of scale expensive packaging, you could pay as much as $3 a pound for that Honeycrisp. But if you go to, let's say, a Costco with their generic packaging, enormous economies of scale, I've seen those Honeycrisps as low as $1.50. The point here being, if you buy that Honeycrisp at either of those two grocers and close your eyes, you will not taste a difference, but your bank account will. And that brings us back to our opportunity here today, which is to differentiate with immediacy. Our clients and many retirement plan committees have been conditioned to expect access to top-tier managers to be contingent on the buying power of their own retirement plan assets within a given asset class, right? The largest plans get the best thing at the lowest price, while those sub-billion-dollar plans pay a premium. Well, most of our clients are sub-billion-dollar plans that want to offer those same Honeycrisp type quality managers to their participants, but their participants are going to pay a higher fee than their billion-dollar Costco-like competitors. Well, that is a challenge you have already helped solve, and that is where you come in. The RPAG custom price single manager active CITs are carbon copies of top-tier managers, with really the only difference boiling down to packaging and a significant reduction in cost to the tune of about 28%. I want to imagine being able to offer a 28% reduction in investment management fees will pique the interest of your next prospect a lot quicker than any possible description of services. Or let's say the next time you want to approach one of your existing clients about potential menu enhancements, you're going to have a little more pep in your step, knowing the value you have to offer in that conversation that your competition does not. Now, I know I'm going to be dinged here soon, so I'm going to wrap up with this. I want you to remember 3 numbers. The first being more than $28 billion. That is the current retirement plan assets of your existing clients just waiting to hear the good news that the same great manager they're already using today is willing to offer them a reduction in fee thanks to you. Now, we already covered what is that savings? 28% on average. But the most important figure to remember is how does this impact those participants? An estimated savings of more than $27 million in just the next year alone specific to that group. So how important is this trillion-dollar economies of scale conversation? Well, it just turned into a multi-million-dollar savings opportunity. So the next time one of your competitors approaches one of your clients, they will be able to respond on your behalf with, how about them apples? Thank you.
Very nice.
Johnny Appleseed, everyone. The cold calling queen, Ellie.
Come on, let's go. Let's go. Is this working?
You're on.
Oh, sorry, couldn't hear myself. Okay, this has been really cute and all, but if you actually want to win more business, then do this, okay? If I'm talking to a prospect, this is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna say, Mr. Prospect, let's pretend you are 63 years old and you're in your company's target date fund. What % equity exposure do you think you have in that fund as a 63-year-old? Often this question is followed by silence because they do not know the answer. Well, Mr. Prospect, if you don't know, do you think your employees know? Because whether it's 20% or 80%, not knowing is actually the problem itself. You need to know and you need to document. It's okay if it's not the best or cheapest target date fund out there, but you need to have a documented process that shows you considered your employees and their risk, of course, when you made the decision, but that you continue to monitor this decision year over year. If you work with me, I promise we'll have this down. Now, I might not be that direct or harsh. Actually, knowing me, I might be that harsh in talking to that prospect. But either way, winning your prospects over is about asking provocative questions, getting a reaction, and getting them to feel uncomfortable enough that they want to make a change, but comfortable in knowing that you are there to help them and protect them. So while most advisors are out there talking about performance and fees, your knowledge and expertise on target date funds and the importance of suitability is what will make you stand out. As we all know, target date funds have become the most popular investment vehicle today, with 99% of plan participants being offered target date funds, 80% of them using them, and 59% of them with their entire account invested in a single target date fund. Because of their increasing popularity, it's no wonder that with all these options out there, plan sponsors are looking for strong performance at a low cost. At the same time, the DOL reacted to this popularity surge by issuing a tip sheet, delivering explicit guidelines on target date fund selection and monitoring due to the general lack of understanding on the part of fiduciaries. I would go as far to say that most plan sponsors don't even realize this document exists, but when you read it, performance is mentioned 1 time, while on the other hand, target date fund risk and suitability is mentioned 8 times. And they did this because they were trying to highlight just how different all of the different target date funds really are. And despite what most people may think, this exposure to risk varies significantly from series to series, which of course in turn significantly impacts participant outcomes. But because target date funds are sort of viewed as this blunt object where as long as fees are low and performance is good, they're sort of forgotten about, it's often the case that the plan sponsor isn't even aware of how risky their target date fund really is. For example, let's say I'm talking to Mr. Prospect again, and as of today, he's got 250 participants whose ages range from 40 to 55 years old, and the majority are saving between 10 and 12%, and just to drive my point home and for fun, let's say the plan also offers a really generous match. When Mr. Prospect was selecting a QDIA all those years ago, he saw that ABC target date funds was cheap and performing really well. So yeah, let's go with that one. Seems fair enough, but what he did not know was that ABC target date funds has a very aggressive risk posture, may not be the least expensive target date fund out there, and may not be the best asset allocation strategy across all market cycles. Not only is this damaging to the participants given their age and their savings behavior, but it also puts Mr. Prospect at risk for not fulfilling his fiduciary responsibility of aligning the target date fund risk level with the characteristics of the plan participants. In other words, even if Mr. Prospect did have the right approach in selecting an aggressive target date fund 10 years ago, his company's demographics have changed. So the aggressive glide path that may have been suitable for the majority of his participants 10 years ago certainly is not the most suitable today, which is also why the DOL recommends reviewing your QDIA every 1 to 3 years. But despite the DOL giving us a very clear roadmap on how to approach the target date fund conversation, advisors continue to make performance and fees the central focus of discussion with plan sponsors. The question arises, how truly valuable is that approach? A more consultative stance, characterized by a prudent process on target date fund suitability, will offer real value to your prospects. The takeaway is this: if you want to win more business, talk about target date fund suitability because one, if you aren't, your competitors will be, so this will help you win new business but also protect current business. And two, it will reaffirm your position as the true advisor, the true consultant who's taking a look at things from every single angle. Thank you.
Good job.
What a way to make her RPAG main stage debut. Another round of applause for Ellie Armstrong. And last but not least, Luke Vandermillen, Jr.
All right, so I'm going to do everyone a huge favor and not talk about target date funds at all. Alex, I do watch Netflix, and Jonathan, I love the thing about the grapefruit, but what I want to talk about is you all, okay? Jeff, destroying money is a federal crime. Look, I've been working with advisors every day for the last almost 6 years. Every day I talk to advisor, sometimes on Saturdays and Sundays, which is awesome. In those conversations, when we're not talking about how to specifically do something within RPAG, when we're not talking about something to do with FlexPath, the conversation always revolves around one idea, okay? How can I leverage the RPAG technology to do my job better? That's the whole purpose I'm here for, okay, is helping advisors like you all sitting in the audience do your job better. You all have made an investment in our technology and our team, and we want to provide you with the tools and resources to do your job in a more efficient manner so you can spend less time in front of a computer and more time talking to clients and prospects. Now, how do we do that? I've stood on my soapbox and made that same speech to 100 advisors before, okay? And they all tell me, that's great, that's really cute, how exactly do I do that? And so what I wanted to spend the next 2 minutes and 43 seconds talking about are 2 tools that every single RPAG user should be using, every single one of you. 90% of RPAG advisors already have these in their toolkit, which means you don't have to pay extra money for them. The first is batch reporting. Most everyone in here uses RPAG for their investment reporting, their annual investment reviews. And most every RPAG user goes client by client, report by report, running them one by one. That's great. We have a feature within the RPAG main menu under Tools called Batch Reporting that will absolutely revolutionize the process. I've talked to a few advisors in the past few weeks, and they told me that on average, they spend about 30 to 45 minutes creating each individual report. So if you look at 30 to 45 minutes twice a year across 25, 50, 75, 100 plans, you are wasting hours of your time clicking buttons. RPAG has the most efficient way to run a report, and it still takes 30 to 45 minutes. So what can you do about that? You can, at the start of every quarter, when the RPAG scores drop, go into batch reporting. It pulls up all of your clients' fund lineup into one screen. It shows all of the recommendations that are made. You can go fund by fund and take a look at, hey, I want to switch large cap value A to large cap value B and so on, and do that on an entire firm level. Again, this is a resource you already have access to. You don't have to spend more money on it. Second, in my session earlier, both of my advisors made great comments about meeting minutes. It's a very small facet of what we do, but recording and documenting the important fiduciary decisions that we make is a crucial part of our responsibility to our business owners. If you're not using the automated meeting minutes within RPAG, you're not getting the most out of the system. You're not getting the most out of your investment. The RPAG automated meeting minutes feature takes the investment reports that you've hopefully run through batch reporting. It takes the information from there and says, hey, we've got these 10 funds that are acceptable, these 2 on watch lists, and replacing this one. It puts it into a nice executive summary with a click of one button, and you're done. You download the report, you put it in your client's fiduciary briefcase, you send it to the client via email, and you go on with your day. Think about how much time you spend typing words into Microsoft Excel for executive summaries of your meetings. You have to document what kind of investment decisions you're making with your clients. So why not use an automated tool that we've already invented here at RPAG to do it? There's 4 seconds of your day back. Thank you.
Valiant effort from all salespeople. And now we go to the judges' scorecard. You. Open up those apps, go to the lightning round session, hit the poll, and vote for your winner. Who's it going to be? Dramatic music. Is it going to be Brian with TIAA, 403B sales? Jeff, throwing money all over the place with executive benefits? Alex, are you going to be cutting the cord? Johnny Appleseed, those Honey Crisps, CITs. We have Ellie Armstrong, target date, suitability, or Luke Vandermillen with meeting minutes and batch reporting. Is it going to be the person who bought you drinks last night at the bar? Will it be someone who's taken you to a ball game? How will you vote? It's up to you, the judges. Do we have the results in the back?
A lot of tapping going on.
Let's see. It must be a close one. Get those votes in.
What are we, this is for the belt, right?
For the championship belt and the honor of being the lightning round champion of Limitless 2023. Gail, the results? If we don't hear it, then it's mine. Thank you. Let's see. Luke Vandermillen Jr. Thank you. Take a bow.
Thank you.
Oh my God.
The check is in the mail. Thank you, Luke.
Who were you worried about?
Yeah.
Who are you worried
All right, come on in, contestants. Bow to the crowd. Round of applause for all of our contestants today. Thank you so much.